All right, so continuing onward, we're going to talk about negative signs on your fraction. So again, negative can be on the top in the numerator, the negative can be in the bottom. They both mean the same thing, where you can put the negative in front of the horizontal bar of your fraction bar. All right, so let's continue with some adding and simplifying examples here. Add and simplify. The denominators are the same, so my answer will have a denominator 4. Add the top. 1 plus 1 is 2. 2, 4. Wait a minute. We can simplify. 2 and 4 both can be reduced by 2. So 2 goes into 2 once, 2 goes into 4 twice, simplifies to 1/2. Number 2, add and simplify. My denominators are both 11. Well, again, you can think of it either way. Fix the double signs. It's a minus. So 3 is bigger, keep the negative sign. The signs are the same, add them together. Negative 5 over 11. Both denominators are the same. 4/7 minus 5/7. 5 is bigger, keep the sign. 5 minus 4 is 1, negative 1/7. Number 4, whoops, our denominators are not the same. So here's another little trick that you can use when finding that least common denominator. When your denominators are different, take the smaller denominator and see if it divides evenly into the second denominator. Or does the second denominator divide into the first, or the first divide into the second? Either way, who's ever the smallest, see if it divides into the bigger denominator. If it does, then that bigger denominator is your least common denominator. So 2 goes into 6 3 times. So I'm going to multiply the top and the bottom of this fraction by 3 over 3, which again technically is a value of 1. So 1/6 minus 3/6. Well, 3/6 is bigger, keep it a negative. 3 minus 1 is 2, negative 2 over 6. Again, we can reduce. 2 goes into 2 once, 2 goes into 6 3 times, negative 1/3. All right, number 5, A, B, C, and D. Notice again, 5A. 6 is a smaller denominator. 6 goes into 12 twice, so we'll multiply this by 2 over 2. So 7/12 plus 2/12 will be 9/12, which, wait a minute, that can reduce by 3. 3 goes into 9 3 times, 3 goes into 12 4 times, that's 3/4. For B, smaller denominator 4 goes into the 8 2 times, so we'll multiply this by 2 over 2. We get 6/8 minus 3/8. 6 is positive, so it's going to be a positive. 6 minus 3 is 3. 3/8 is my answer. 3 does not divide into 4 evenly, so therefore there's no common factor. So here we're going to do that crisscross kind of technique that we talked about with the squares. This 3 has to be multiplied to the 1 and to the 4 of the first fraction. The first denominator must be multiplied to the 2 and the 3 of the second fraction. So my denominator is going to be a 12, so I have 3/12 plus 8/12, which becomes 11/12. Part D, 5 doesn't go into 7, so again, crisscross, take the 5 and multiply it to the top and the bottom of the first fraction. That's the second denominator. So times 5 times 5. Take the first denominator and multiply the top and bottom of the second fraction. We're going to get 30 over 35 minus 21 over 35, which technically is going to give me 9 over 35. So like I said, these two examples is that crisscross common denominator technique. All right, number 6. What do we got here? Oh, we got a special case here. 8 doesn't go into 20. However, there is a factor in the 8, 4, that can divide into the 8 and to the 20. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to break this 20 down as 5 times 4. We're going to break this 8 down as 2 times 4. Circle the 4s. Don't use them again. They're done. They're in both denominators. And then we just do our crisscross with the factors that are not common. So this 2 is going to be multiplied top and bottom. This 5 is going to be multiplied top and bottom of the second fraction. So 5 times 4 is 20 times 2 is 40. So we're going to have negative 18 over 40. Then my minus negative is going to be a plus 25 over 40. All right, here we go. Sign numbers. 25 is bigger. It's going to be a positive. Signs are different. Subtract 25 minus 8 negative, minus 18 is a positive 7 over 40. 7. Oh, we have the same thing. Common factor in both of these. 28 is 7 times 4. 20 is 5 times 4. Again, circle the common factor, and the ones that are not common, you crisscross. So 5, multiply top and bottom of the first fraction. 7, multiply top and bottom of the second. All right, let's find this common denominator here. We got 5 times 4 is 20 times 7 is 140. 5 times 5 is 25. 19 times 7. Well, 20 times 7 is 140. Take 1 7 away. 133 with the minus sign. Okay, 133 is bigger than 25, so it's going to be a negative. 133 minus 25 is going to be 108. So a negative 108 over 4. Wait a minute. Even numbers we can reduce. So remember what we said about the last two digits, or if I haven't, here's the rule. We have 8 and 40. Both are divisible by 4. So 108 divided by 4 is 27. 140 divided by 4 is 35. Negative 27 over 35. Number 8. Let's see. Both even numbers. So let's take a 2 out. 5 times 2, 7 times 2. Circle the common factor. Don't use it. Crisscross the 7. Crisscross the 5. So let's see. We're going to have 10 times 7. That's a 70. Negative 21 over 70 plus 15 over 70. It's going to be a negative. 21 minus 15 is negative 6 over 70. Again, they're both even. Divide out a 2 to reduce. Negative 3 over 35. Number 9, let's see. 5 can't go into 12. 4 can, so let's break the 12 down to 3 times 4. Now here, because I have different denominators, we need to find the least common denominator. So you have to use the 3, we have to use the 4, and we have to use the 5. Don't use the 4 again, we've already used it. So the least common denominator, 3 times 4 times 5, is going to be 60. So when I change each fraction, I have the 3 and the 4, I don't have the 5. So I multiply the 5 to both the top and the bottom. The second fraction, I have the 5. I have the 5, but I don't have the 3 times 4. So you can write 3 times 4, or you can just call it a 12. You can put 12 times 12 times 12. Whichever you prefer is fine. Last fraction, I have the 4. I don't have the 3 times the 5. So that's what I'm going to multiply top and bottom by. Or if you want to literally call it 15, call it 15. That works too. So in this case here, 4 times 3 times 5, that's going to be my 60. And 7 times 5 is the 35 minus 12 times the 4 is 48. 15 times the 1 is plus 15. Add this together. We're going to get 63. Drop the parentheses because we simplified it. There's my minus sign. So 63 is bigger. We're going to get a negative, and then 63 minus 35. Oh, I'm thinking, what, 28? Okay, but those are even numbers, and double check. 28 is divisible by 4, and so is 60. So we'll divide off the 4 to get negative 7 over 15. Number 10, let's do the same thing. We have a 3, a 5, and a 4. Prime number, and 4 can break down to 2 times 2, but there's no 2, so leave the 4. So your LCD is to multiply every denominator together. So, least common denominator is 60. The 3 I have, I don't have the 4 times 5. You could put 4 times 5, or you can put a 20, whatever you prefer. I have the 5, I don't have the 3 and the 4. 3 times 4, 12. Put whichever one you want. I have the 4, but not the 3 times 5, which is 15. Again, pick which one you want. So 60 is my denominator, one big denominator. We have 20 times 2 is the 40, minus 12 times 2 is the 24, 15 times 1. So 40 minus 24 is 16, plus 15 is going to be 31 over 60. 11, be careful here. There's a multiplication. We have to simplify this part first. So 1 times 3 is 3, 4 times 7 is 28. There's my addition problem. So 5 does not go into 28, so crisscross. Now, you could break down the 28 in case you're looking to see if there's something common. It's not there. So 4 times 5 times 7 or 5 times 28, whichever you prefer is fine. Multiply the 28 top and bottom, or 4 and 7, however you want to say it. Multiply the 5 top and bottom. But 140, and we're going to have 4 times 7, that's that 28, times 3 is 84. 5 times, or 3 times 5 is 15. Add that together to get 99 over 140. 12, we have to simplify inside this parentheses first, so 3 times 7 is 21. So 3 times 3 top and bottom here. 7 times 7 top and bottom here. We're going to get 3 minus 7, we're going to get negative 4 over 21. Now, since we're dividing by 16 over 21, let's change the division to multiplication and flip the 21 over 16. So now the 21s can reduce to 1s. The 4 can go into 16 4 times. Negative 1 times 1 is negative 1. 1 times 4 is 4. There's my final answer. 13, simplify each set of parentheses before we divide. And I noticed that 9 could go into 45 5 times. So 8 over 9 gets multiplied by 5 over 5. So 40 minus 4 all over 45, 36 over 45. 15 can divide into 75 also 5 times. So multiply 5 top and bottom. 20 minus 1, 19 over 75. But while we're here, let's change the division to multiplication, then flip 75 on the top, 19 on the bottom. Let's see, cancellations here. 15 can go divide evenly into 45 3 times and 75 5 times. 3 can go into 36 12 times. 12 times 5, we have 60 over 19 as my final answer. 14, 4 times a half, that's a 2. Minus, 4 times 4 over 1. So 4 times 4 is 16. That's going to give me a negative 14 for an answer. All right, our word problems here. Jessica is making covers for the throw pillows on her sofa. For each pillow cover, she needs 4/10 yards of print fabric and 4/35 yards of solid fabric. What is the total amount of fabric Jessica needs for each pillow cover? Well, we have to add these two fractions together. However, notice that the first one can be reduced. And if you can reduce a fraction before you start working with it, very wise choice. So we need to go 2/5 plus 4 over 35. Now, 5 goes into 35 7 times. So multiply the top and bottom of 2/5 by 7. So 4 plus 14 is going to be 18 over 35. And that's going to be how many yards of fabric is needed. 16, if there are 19,372 students at Rocky Valley College and 1/4 of the students take speech, how many students take speech at the college? Okay, 1/4 of the students. 1/4 of means to multiply 1/4 to your total. Now again, 72 is my last two digits. 4 goes into 72 evenly, so therefore it has to go into the whole problem. So 4 goes into 19,372, 4,843. Thank you, TI. Multiply by 1, that's how many students are in speech. 17, when making bread from scratch, the recipe calls for 2/5 cups of water. If you need to make a smaller portion of the recipe, how much water would you need in order to make only 1/8 of? Okay, just like we saw up here, 1/4 of, 1/8 of means we need to multiply 1/8 to 2/5. Well, 2 and 8 can reduce to 1 over 4. 1 times 1 is 1, 5 times 4 is 20. 1/20th cup of water. 18. Suppose you have 4.5 pairs. If a serving consists of 3/4 of a pair, how many servings, including parts of a serving, can you get? Okay, so before we can work with a mixed fraction, we got to change this to an improper fraction. Take the denominator, multiply to the whole number, and add it to the top. So 2 times 4 is 8 plus 1 is 9 halves. Now, we want to find how many servings of 3/4 can divide evenly into 9 halves. So we're going to divide 9 halves by, whoops, we're not going to divide. We're going to multiply by its reciprocal and do some simplifying. 3's can go into the 9's, 3 and 1, 2 can go into 4. So 3 times 2 is 6. You have 6 servings of pears. Okay, Jesse has 3 1-gallon containers. The first 1 gallon has 1/8 of a gallon of juice. The second has 1/8 gallon of juice. And the third has 3/8 gallon of juice. How many total gallons of juice does Jesse have? Well, fortunately, all 3 denominators are an 8. Add all the numerators. 5/8 of a gallon. Okay, 20. Jenny measured 3/7 cup of flour and 1/3 cup of flour. How many total cups of flour does she have? Add the two together. Okay, crisscross. Take the second denominator, multiply it to the top and the bottom. 7 multiplied top and bottom. 7 times 3 is 21. There's my denominator. 9 plus 7. 16 over 21 cups of flour. 21. Suppose your school costs for this term were $5,480 and financial aid covered 3/4 of the amount. How much did financial aid cover? Again, 3/4 of, we have to multiply. So 4 goes into 5480, 1,370 times, multiplied by 3, 4,110. That's the amount financial aid covered. How much do you still have to pay? Well, subtract the 5480 by 4110. You have to pay $1,370. 22. If while training for a marathon you ran 100 miles in 2 and 4/5 months, how many miles did you run each day? Okay, first things first, we're going to divide 2 and 4/5 into 100. So we need this as an improper fraction. So 5 times 2 plus 4 in the numerator. Keep the same denominator. So that's going to be 100 divided by 14 over 5. Don't cancel the 5 into 100. We're going to multiply by its reciprocal. 100 times 5 over 14. 14 and 100 can be reduced by 2. So 50 times 5 is 250 over 7. If I change that to a mixed fraction, that's 35 over 5/7. So let me quickly grab my calculator and show you a fast way to do that without having to use a fraction button. Take the 250 and divide it by 7. Okay, there's the whole number, 35. Divided by 7, that's my denominator. How do I find the 5? Subtract by 35. Remove the whole number and then multiply by what you divided by. It's a 5. There's your numerator. And that ends our work with fractions here.